Hello everyone and welcome to this week's After Effects plugin quick tip tutorial. In this one, I'm going to be showing you all about layer check-in and check-out, which is essentially what you need to do in order to tell After Effects or tell your plugin which parameters in your UI need to be used. Basically, the process is to check out a parameter, run your render function, and then check it back in at the end to make sure that everything is put together properly and everything is matching up parameter-wise. I believe this mostly has to do with memory management and making sure everything is cleaned up, and today I'm going to be showing you how to do it. Before we get started with the video, I do want to remind you down below, hit subscribe and the bell icon to be notified of new videos coming out twice weekly in the channel, and down in the description you can follow us on GitHub for coding updates as well as Instagram for other live updates. If you haven't joined our Discord server yet, make sure you do to get help with scripting, extensions, plugins, submit tutorial ideas, and much more. And if you'd like to help support us on YouTube, you can do so in the description. We now have two types of memberships rather than four. Just to keep things simple, you can become a $1.99 a month member or $4.99 a month supporter, which just helps us out financially, gives you badges and emojis, weekly member polls on YouTube, Discord status, as well as weekly supporter live streams as well. And lastly, also in the description, you can check out the links to AE Scripts, Gumroad, and Adobe Exchange to see some other cool stuff I make. All right, so checking out stuff is pretty simple. And basically what we want to do is check out every single parameter we've defined in our interface. So in your H files in a standard effect plugin, you're going to have these enumerations, usually which are going to represent the parameters in your plugin interface. And we basically need to check out and check in each one of these. It's super important that we specifically check in and check out the each param, because if we don't, we're going to get errors. So for example, if I were to check in all of these or check out all of these and forget this one, we may get an error, especially if we're trying to actually get the value from this. And then secondly, if we have a ton of these enumerated values or a really complicated UI, it can get really complicated in terms of checking out, where you just have a giant list of stuff. So building it little by little for bigger projects is important. So maybe starting with 7 parameters and checking those out and making sure that works, and then building up. Specifically, a lot of the errors you will get if this is incorrect is a bad callback function or a bad callback error. And it's just usually a pop-up that stops your render for a second and then continues your plugin. But this can be detrimental, of course, because you don't want errors popping up. So in this case, this simple example for today, we're inside of a smart render function. If you're using non-smart render, you could just put this in your render function, or it might even go in the setup. But in this case, smart render is just the best way to go. And I showed you an H file with lots of enumerated values, but we're going to start simple. Let's say we simply have a single value, which is a drop-down called the look. Maybe we select a preset look for our plugin. So I have this film scan look here, and we're basically just going to say pf checkout param. We provide our in data, so that way we have access to all of its properties. We're then going to provide the second enumeration that we do with the disk identification. Then we can put in the time of the checkout, the time step, as well as the time scale. Finally, you need to refer to your actual params. We're going to have a pointer to our film scan look param, which this is the first enumerated value we define for, and this is the second one. And essentially, this is all you have to do. You don't have to necessarily understand all of it. If you do this, this is how you check it out. You wrap a checkout param function in an error. You provide your enumerated names as well as a pointer to your param for that particular UI parameter, and then you provide the current time, time step, and time scale. And for example, if you wanted to say check out a layer, in this case maybe it could be an input layer, you could check it out at whatever time you want. You could take the current time and divide it by 5, and if you were at 100 seconds, that would give you 20 seconds. And other than that, it's pretty basic. You can just check out all the parameters, and all you have to do is copy and paste one, and then provide, maybe it's not the look, maybe it's the layer disk ID instead of the film scan look, maybe it's the film scan layer. And maybe we don't want to check it out at the current time, but maybe we want to check out frame 0 even. We can do that specifically like that. And once it's done this checkout, essentially what this has done is enabled you to access these variables. If you don't check out values, oftentimes your your variables in your structure that you're bringing in your pointer that you usually provide to all your iterate functions is going to have null or undefined or weird values. So it's super important to check out, not just to make After Effects happy, but also to make sure you're actually getting the values that the user is putting into the plugin. So after you check out all of your parameters one-to-one with your UI parameters, the next thing is you'll run your render function. Whether you're using Smart Render or normal render, this is going to be the same. You want to have your checkout before, then your render, then we're going to do what's called the check-in, which is just the opposite but way easier. All we have to do is wrap a pf check-in param call in an error. We're going to provide our in data and then a pointer to that parameter again. I got to change my light. So we don't have to provide any times or anything for the check-in. We just need to give it the in data, which is already given in any render function, and then a reference to the pointer to our specific UI param. And when you do this correctly, if I was to do this, for example, it would fail because I would then need to check in my, in this case, film scan underscore layer as well. So just make sure you do this one-to-one with all of your properties defined in your UI or your param settings, whatever you want to call it. And basically, check out each one, run your render, then check in each one. This will make sure that all is working well. And if you get anything like a callback function error or anything like that that pops up with a red error message, then that's how you know your error could be in here. For example, if you check out one too many in a check-in or one too many in the checkout, then you may just simply get an error like that, and it may be hard to find, but just make sure that everything matches your H file where you've defined all your enumerations. And that's going to do it for this video, guys. I hope you enjoyed. That's how you check in and check out parameters for your After Effects plugin. If you enjoyed the video, hit the thumbs up button. Down below, hit subscribe and the bell icon to be notified of new videos coming out twice weekly in the channel. And down in the description, you can follow us on GitHub for coding updates, as well as Instagram for other live updates. If you haven't joined our Discord server yet, make sure you do to get help with the scripting, extensions, plugins, submit tutorial ideas, and much more. And if you'd like to help support us on YouTube, you can do so in the description with our 2 perks now instead of 4, where you can become a member or supporter, join our other members who are also members on the Discord server, supporters on the Discord server, and join us in our live streams and much more. And in the description, check out the links to AE Scripts, Gumroad, and Adobe Exchange to see some of the other cool stuff I make. Thanks again for watching. We'll check out next time.